means we are opening that app folder in a terminal. Here we need to generate the components. So ng generate the components. Suppose I am defining the component. So one is home. Home is the component. Ng generate component, that is home, and skip test equal to true. Okay, we are generating a home component here. You have to generate in that app folder, right? So we are generating the home component. Okay, and similarly others. So just like yesterday we have seen. So I will generate ng generate component. Another one is electronics. Okay, skip test equal to true. Okay, we have electronics component, right? So and one more is ng generate component. So footwear, skip test equal to true. So skip test equal to true. Okay. Now these are the components we have. Just I am adding two components. One is electronics and another one is footwear and home. Three components are there. We need to configure the route for this. How do we generally configure the routing for this? That means, so first you have to go to app routing module. So that is the app routing module, and define the app routing module. So the app routing module, and from the app routing module we need to add. So first one is from the app routing module we are configuring this. So first one, let's go and add this one, right? In the routes we need to configure the routes. So how do we configure the routes? First we have to define here path. So we learned already. So path is home. Okay, then component. So which component to access? So it should access home component. Okay, fine. That's what we need to configure there. All right. And the next, another path we are configuring. So another path we are configuring. This is electronics and components. And component is electronics component. Okay. One more is footwear. So here path. So that is footwear. And component is footwear component. So we are configuring the footwear component. Fine. And here we are defining, yesterday we learned path, wildcard route. If user is not requesting anything, then it has to redirect. It should redirect to home. And path match you have to define as full. Now one more we will do here is I will generate one more component, ng generate component as a page not found, and skip test equal to true. That means user is requesting something but which is not available actually. User is requesting and it is not available. Then what we need to do here is we need to configure the wildcard route in this way. So path, so we have to define the path. If path is asterisk, double asterisk, then it has to generate a component. It has to access the component that is not found. So page not found component it should access that component. That's how we configure the wildcard routes, configuration of wildcard routes. Then once your routing is defined perfectly here, that means you have to go to app routing module.ts and we need to define this. Now what we need to do is we need to make sure that in the app module.ts, we have a routing module, app routing module registered. You can see app routing module is registered. In the modules, you can see that. You have to make sure that app routing module is registered here. App routing module is registered here. Once routing module is registered, then we can use the routes. We can configure and use the routes. So once it is configured, now we have to use the routes. How we can configure the routes and use the routes? By default, it is there because while adding, we configured it. We selected that. Now, by default, it starts with the app component HTML file. By default, it starts with app component HTML file. So let's go to that app component HTML file here. So we are going to the app component HTML file here. Okay, so let's add into that. So app component HTML file. In that file, we have all this logic. So I'm removing all this because it is in the startup here. And one more is we have to install Bootstrap for our application. Actually, Bootstrap we need to install for the workspace. Here, little bit change in the paths also. I will show you that. Suppose we need to go to workspace. CD my workspace, and we need to install Bootstrap. npm install Bootstrap. We have to install Bootstrap. So you have to install the Bootstrap for your workspace because that is where your node modules is present. And you can use anywhere in your projects now. All projects can use this Bootstrap now. So routing module is ready, configured. So example here I will show. Yeah. So what we are doing is, so generate components, example for routing, right? So add following components. So into project. So that is home component, ng generate component home, another one ng generate component some electronics, and ng generate component some footwear, and ng generate component page not found. These are all the components we need to define. So, and after generating this, go to app routing.module.ts, and here you have to configure the routing. So we need to configure the routing. Okay, and this is what we have defined in that file. In the routing module, we configured the routes. So all the components are imported. And here we configured all the routes here. We defined the routes. Now, once the routes are defined, so our Bootstrap is also installed now. Where you configured the Bootstrap. So actually, we need to do that in the styles folder. So that means in the styles folder, we need to import that here. So generally, what we do here at the net import. This time here it is, you have to come out of the current folder // So it will come out of the current project folder. again dot dot